Ambassador Zixatheta floated through the quarantine station's viewing deck, his tentacles curling with nervous energy. For 200 years, this station had maintained the barrier around Earth. 200 years of keeping the most dangerous species in the galaxy locked on their homeworld. Today, he would review their 47th application to join the galactic community. The other ambassadors were already waiting. The Vorthon representative stood like a living crystal, light bending through her transparent body. The nebulite drifted as a cloud of conscious gas in his containment suit. The swarm's 1,000 tiny bodies moved as one creature, forming patterns of anxiety. "Show us the footage again," the Vorthon ambassador said. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. "I need to remember why we keep them locked away." The holographic display came to life. Earth appeared before them, a blue and green sphere that looked beautiful from space, but everyone in the room knew the truth. This was a Class X death world, a planet where life shouldn't exist at all. The footage showed a human city. The temperature reading made the nebulite shudder. 40 degrees Celsius, hot enough to boil the fluids in most species' bodies. Yet humans walked around in minimal clothing, some even exercising outdoors. Children played in this heat, laughing as they ran through sprays of water. "Switch to the Arctic footage," Zixatheta commanded, though he immediately regretted it. The scene changed to a frozen wasteland, negative 50 degrees Celsius, cold enough to shatter Vorthon crystal flesh like glass. Humans lived there too. They built homes, raised families, and some even swam in holes cut through the ice. For fun, the swarm's bodies clustered together in fear. "Show them the animals," they said in their 1,000-voice whisper. The display shifted to show Earth's wildlife. A massive bear weighing 800 pounds with claws that could tear through steel. The humans had given it a cute name, Teddy Bear, after the stuffed toys they gave their children. The screen showed a human photographing the beast from mere meters away. Then came the worst part, the part that made even Zixatheta's 3 hearts skip a beat. A human family's home, where a descendant of wolves, a predator that hunted in packs, slept on their furniture. They called it a dog and let it lick their children's faces. Let it sleep in their beds, the same creature whose ancestors could track prey for days and tear it apart. "Enough," the Vorthon ambassador said. "Show us their food." This was somehow worse. Humans consumed capsaicin, a chemical that was classified as a weapon on most worlds. They fermented their drinks with bacteria that would kill most species. They ate foods that contained enough bacteria to destroy entire ecosystems. They called this cheese and considered it a delicacy. Their young consumed the milk of other species, the nebulite whispered in horror. Even after they stopped feeding from their own mothers. "It's unnatural." Zixatheta pulled up the medical files. Humans could survive injuries that would kill any other sentient being 3 times over. They could lose liters of blood and remain conscious. Their bones, when broken, grew back stronger. They had redundant organs, backup systems for their backup systems. One human had survived having a metal rod driven through his brain. He had not only lived but returned to work after something they called physical therapy. And their diseases, the swarm added. They carry billions of bacteria. Each human is a walking biological weapon. Their immune systems are so aggressive that they attack their own bodies for practice when no threats are present. They call these allergies and treat them like minor inconveniences. The room fell silent as they reviewed the application. The humans had written it in perfect galactic standard, which they had learned in less than 1 Earth year. A feat that should have taken a decade for most species. They requested peaceful trade, cultural exchange, and the right to explore the stars. They promised to follow all council laws and respect all species' biological needs. "It seems reasonable," Zixatheta said carefully. "They have shown no aggressive intent." "No aggressive intent?" The Vorthon's body flashed red with disbelief. "They evolved on a world that tries to kill them every day. They are aggressive intent. Their existence is aggression." Before anyone could respond, alarms filled the station. Red lights bathed the room as emergency broadcasts flooded their communications. Zixatheta's assistant rushed in, his 6 legs clicking frantically on the metal floor. "Ambassadors. Emergency. The Crimson Nebula pirates have taken Research Station 7. 10,000 civilians are trapped. The station is drifting into the radiation fields of Kelmar. No rescue is possible. The radiation will kill anyone who attempts to approach." The swarm scattered in panic. The radiation fields of Kelmar were legendary. Ships that entered never returned. The radiation could melt through any shielding in minutes. The pirates knew this. They were using the fields as the perfect trap, demanding ransom while knowing no one could reach the hostages. How long until the station enters the deadly zone? Zix Theta asked. 6 hours, Ambassador. After that, the radiation will kill everyone aboard within minutes. The room erupted in desperate discussion. The Vorthan military was too far away. The Nebulite ships couldn't handle solid radiation. The swarm would die instantly if even one of their bodies was exposed. Every solution ended the same way, impossible. Wait, Zix Theta's assistant said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. The radiation levels in the Kelmar fields. I've seen similar readings before. Where? The Vorthan demanded. The assistant pulled up a data file. Earth, during their summer season. On their beaches. They call it getting a tan. They lie in this radiation on purpose. For enjoyment, the room went completely silent. Every eye, photoreceptor, and sensory organ turned to look at the blue planet on the display. The Death World, the world they had quarantined. The world whose people considered deadly radiation a vacation activity. No, the Nebulite said. We cannot. It goes against everything. The quarantine exists for a reason. 10,000 lives, Zix Theta said slowly. 10,000 innocent civilians will die in 6 hours. The humans have ships. They have offered to help. They want to be part of our community. They're monsters, the swarm whispered. Perhaps, Zix Theta replied, but they're monsters who want to help. And right now they're the only monsters who can survive what's coming. The vote was called. For the first time in 200 years, the Galactic Council considered lifting the quarantine on humanity. Not for trade, not for cultural exchange, but because the galaxy's most feared species might be its only hope. The Vorthan voted no. The swarm abstained in terror. The Nebulite surprised everyone by voting yes, saying, perhaps it's time we learned what they're truly capable of. Zix Theta cast the deciding vote. Yes, contact Earth. Tell them we need their help, and may the cosmic forces help us all. Within minutes, the message was sent to Earth. The response came back in seconds, as if the humans had been waiting. Captain Sarah Chen of the Earthship Persistence sent a simple reply. We're on our way. Don't worry. We've handled worse weather. The ambassadors looked at each other. Worse weather. The humans considered the deadly radiation fields of Kalmar, which had destroyed 100 ships over the centuries, to be weather. What have we done? The Vorthan whispered. Zix Theta stared at the display showing the human ship already leaving Earth's orbit. It was smaller than he expected, crude by galactic standards, but it moved through space with a confidence that made his tentacles curl. We've opened the cage, he replied. Now we'll see if we've released heroes or monsters. The station grew quiet as they watched the human ship approach. In 6 hours, they would have their answer. In 6 hours, the galaxy would learn what humans could really do when they left their death world behind. The quarantine beacons powered down one by one. For the first time in 2 centuries, humanity was free to enter the galaxy, and the galaxy held its breath. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the ESS Persistence, watching the radiation fields of Kelmar grow larger on their screens. Her crew of 50 humans worked at their stations with calm efficiency. They had trained for this moment their entire lives, though they never thought it would actually come. Captain, we're receiving about 300 messages from the Galactic Council, her communications officer, Lieutenant Park, announced. They all say the same thing. Turn back, the radiation is deadly. No ship can survive, Sarah smiled. Tell them we appreciate their concern. Also tell them that my grandmother would have loved this radiation. She always complained that her beach house in Australia didn't get enough sun. The crew chuckled. They all wore standard Earth Fleet uniforms, nothing special. No heavy radiation suits. No emergency gear. Just their regular clothes and the ship's standard shielding, designed to handle Earth's Van Allen radiation belts, solar flares, and the occasional gamma-ray burst. Ma'am, her science officer called out, I'm reading the radiation levels. The council wasn't joking. This is intense. Almost as bad as that solar storm we flew through last year during the Mars training run. Almost as bad? Sarah asked. So Tuesday on Mercury? Pretty much, Captain. The Galactic Council station watched in horror through long-range sensors. The human ship entered the radiation field without slowing down. They expected to see it melt, to watch the hull dissolve like ice in fire. Instead, the ship continued forward steady and undamaged. Back on the station, Ambassador Zix Theta watched the data in disbelief. Their hull temperature has increased by 2 degrees. That's all. How is this possible? His assistant pulled up the specifications the humans had shared. Their ships are built to handle something they call re-entry. They regularly fall through atmospheres at speeds that create temperatures of 3,000 degrees. They do this for routine landing procedures. The swarm ambassadors' bodies formed a pattern of shock. They crash into planets as a landing method? Controlled crash, the assistant corrected. They call it coming home. On the Persistence, Sarah studied the tactical display. The research station was visible now, surrounded by 12 pirate vessels. The Crimson Nebula pirates were known for their cruelty. They had terrorized shipping lanes for 50 years, always staying one step ahead of law enforcement. Captain, her tactical officer, Commander Jones, spoke up. The pirates are hailing us. They're laughing. They think we're another victim flying into their trap. Put them on screen. A reptilian face appeared, covered in scars and cybernetic implants. Captain Krex of the Crimson Nebula looked amused. Humans. I heard you were stupid, but this is beyond belief. You flew right into our trap. Surrender your ship and we might let you join the other hostages. Sarah stood up, walked closer to the screen. I'm Captain Sarah Chen of Earth. You have one chance to surrender. Release the hostages and you'll be treated fairly under galactic law. The pirates laughed. Krex showed his teeth, each one filed to a point. Little human, you have one small ship. We have 12. You're in a radiation field that will cook you alive. What could you possibly do to us? Sarah turned to her crew. Mr. Park, are we broadcasting to the council? Yes, ma'am. They're watching everything. Good. I want them to see this. She turned back to Krex. You asked what we could do? We're going to board your ship. The laughter stopped. Krex looked confused. Board in this radiation? Without shields? You'll die in seconds. Commander Jones, Sarah said calmly. Prepare boarding team Alpha. Standard gear only. We don't want to scare our new friends at the council. Aye, Captain. Should they bring the coffee? Of course. It's going to be a long day. The pirates watched in disbelief as 5 humans entered their ship's airlock. They wore basic spacesuits, the kind most species used for emergency repairs in safe space. The humans cycled through and stepped out into the radiation field. Back at the council station, the Nebulite ambassador gasped. They're walking through it. They're walking through radiation that would dissolve my containment suit in seconds. The humans moved through space using small jetpacks, approaching the lead pirate vessel. One of them, according to the ID broadcast, was drinking something from a tube in his helmet. The label read espresso. They're drinking their poison stimulant while spacewalking through deadly radiation, the Vorthan ambassador said faintly. They're insane. The boarding team reached the pirate ship. The pirates tried to lock them out, but humans had something the galaxy had never seen before. Cutting tools designed to work in Earth's industrial facilities. Where other species used precise laser cutters, humans used something called a plasma torch. It was crude, violent, and terrifyingly effective. They cut through the hull in 30 seconds. Inside the pirate ship, alarms screamed. Krex ordered his crew to seal the breach and prepare for combat. He had 200 fighters, all armed with energy weapons. The humans had 5 people with primitive projectile weapons. The pirates never stood a chance. The council watched the internal security footage with a mixture of awe and terror. The humans moved through the ship like predators. They didn't just walk. They bounded off walls, using the ship's artificial gravity in ways that made no sense. One human took 3 direct hits from energy weapons and kept moving. The wounds sealed themselves with something they called quick clot, and the human continued fighting. But the worst part was their coordination. They communicated with hand signals, moving as one unit. They cleared rooms in seconds, disabling pirates without killing them. One human threw a small metal sphere that released a gas. The pirates who breathed it fell unconscious instantly. Knockout gas? Six Theta asked. No, his assistant said, reading the chemical analysis. It's something they call pepper spray. It's made from their food. They eat this for flavor. Within 20 minutes, the lead pirate ship was captured. Krex himself was found hiding in an escape pod, crying. The human who found him, Sergeant Martinez, offered him a tissue and said, There. It's okay. We're not going to hurt you. Want some water? The sight of the galaxy's most feared pirate captain weeping while a human patted his shoulder gently broke something in the collective psyche of everyone watching. Sarah's voice came over the communications. Pirate Vessels 2 through 12, this is Captain Chen. You've seen what 5 of my people can do. I have 45 more who are getting bored. Surrender now or we'll board all of you simultaneously. The pirates surrendered immediately. Some even powered down their own ships and raised white flags, a human symbol they had apparently researched in the last few minutes. With the pirates neutralized, the Persistence moved to the research station. The 10,000 civilians were trapped in failing life support, the radiation slowly cooking their shields. Sarah ordered her crew to dock. But Captain, the station commander said over comms, we're too deep in the radiation. Anyone who comes aboard will die. Commander, with respect, my crew is from Earth. Half of them grew up in Australia where the sun tries to kill you and everything else is venomous. The other half are from places like Alaska, where it's so cold your breath freezes in your lungs. We'll be fine. The humans boarded the station. They brought repair equipment, medical supplies, and for some reason a full kitchen setup. While the engineers fixed the shields and life support, the medical team treated the injured. The cook started making something called chicken soup because, as he explained, nothing fixes problems like good food. The civilians watched in amazement as humans worked in areas where the radiation shielding had completely failed. One human, finding a section too hot even for them, took off his jacket and said, "Reminds me of summer in Death Valley." Good times. Within 4 hours, the station was repaired. The shields were not just fixed, but upgraded with human technology that could apparently handle much worse radiation. The hostages were safe. The pirates were captured. As the Persistence towed the station out of the radiation field, Sarah Chen sent a message to the Galactic Council. Mission complete. Hostages safe. Pirates in custody. By the way, your radiation field would make a great tourist destination. Think about it. Radiation tans without the cancer risk. My crew wants to know if we can come back for vacation. The council didn't know how to respond to that. The humans had just treated one of the galaxy's deadliest natural phenomena like a beach resort. The news spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Within days, every screen on every world played the footage of humans walking through the radiation fields of Kelmar. The image of Sergeant Martinez comforting the crying pirate captain became the most shared video in galactic history. Some species thought it was propaganda. Others thought it was a horror movie. But the humans were coming. With the quarantine lifted, Earth's government had approved civilian travel. The first human tourists, merchants, and workers began arriving at space stations across the galaxy. Every arrival became an event that drew crowds and caused evacuations in equal measure. On Trade Station 9, the galaxy's largest commercial hub, a human chef named Marcus opened what he called an Earth restaurant. The health inspectors came immediately. They found him serving foods that violated every safety code in existence. "Sir," the inspector, a 4-armed Altarian, said nervously, This is biological warfare. You're serving poison." Marcus, a large man from Louisiana, laughed warmly. "Poison? This is my grandmother's jambalaya recipe. It's mild. I left out most of the spice for you folks." Mild? The inspector's scanner showed capsaicin levels that could be used for crowd control. This would kill most species. "Well, how about I make a really mild section? Like kindergarten level mild? My 5-year-old niece could eat it." The inspector fainted when Marcus showed him what human 5-year-olds ate for snacks, something called hot chips that were classified as chemical weapons on 40 worlds. But the restaurant stayed open because of a technicality. Humans could eat there, and surprisingly, some other species discovered they could handle very, very diluted versions of human food. A Vorthan trader tried something called black coffee, diluted to 1% strength, and claimed it was the best stimulant she'd ever had. Within a week, Marcus had lines out the door. On Mining Colony 7, a human engineer named Jessica was hired to fix a reactor that had been broken for 10 years. The repair crew watched in horror as she crawled directly into the radioactive core. "I need to see the problem," she explained through her radio. "Can't fix what I can't see." "But the radiation," the foreman screamed. "Oh, this is about as bad as an X-ray at the dentist. I've had worse exposure from eating bananas." She fixed the reactor in 3 hours. When she came out, she was slightly sweaty, but otherwise fine. The entire repair crew needed counseling. On the luxury cruise ship Stellar Dream, a human family went on vacation. The Johnsons from Canada seemed nice enough. Parents, 2 kids, and their pet. Nobody had researched what a golden retriever was before allowing it on board. When the 100-pound descendant of wolves bounded into the main plaza, 3 different species fainted. Security was called. The captain himself came down to deal with the situation. "That's a predator," he shouted. "You brought a hunting animal onto my ship." Little Timmy Johnson, age 7, hugged the dog. "Mr. Fluffles? He's not a predator. He's a good boy, watch." The child threw a ball. The massive carnivore, whose ancestors could track and kill prey over dozens of miles, cheerfully ran after it and brought it back, tail wagging. "It's trained to retrieve kills," someone whispered in horror. "He retrieves tennis balls," Mrs. Johnson explained. "Sometimes sticks. Once he brought me a whole tree branch, but that was a bit much." The ship's security tried to contain the situation, but then Mr. Fluffles did something that broke everyone's understanding of reality. A small alien child, a nebulite in a containment suit, dropped their toy. The predator gently picked it up and carried it back to the child, tail wagging, seeking head pats. The galaxy's understanding of humans shattered and reformed daily. But the real terror came when the Vorthan Empire decided enough was enough. High Admiral Krex, no relation to the pirate, announced that humans were a threat to galactic stability. Their very presence disrupted order. Their foods were weapons. Their pets were killers. Their children played games more dangerous than military training. "We've all seen the footage," the Admiral said in a broadcast to all worlds. "Humans are not a species. They are a plague. They survived a death world by becoming death itself. They must be contained before they spread their madness across the galaxy." The Vorthan Empire assembled the largest fleet in history, 5,000 warships, each carrying weapons that could crack moons. They headed for Earth with one mission: force humanity back into quarantine or destroy them. The humans' response was confusing. They sent a single message: "Please reconsider. We just want to be friends." Admiral Krex laughed. "One planet against 5,000 ships? Even Deathworlders couldn't survive those odds." The human ambassador to the Galactic Council, James Rodriguez, requested an emergency session. He stood before the assembled representatives looking tired but determined. "Please," he said, "call off your fleet. We don't want this fight." The Vorthan representative stood, her crystal body flashing with anger. "You are chaos incarnate. You eat poison, befriend predators, and bathe in radiation. You cannot be allowed to spread," Rodriguez sighed. "We're different, yes, but different doesn't mean dangerous. We've shown nothing but friendship. You conquered the Crimson Nebula pirates in 20 minutes. We arrested criminals who were hurting innocent people. We didn't even kill them. Sergeant Martinez is actually pen pals with Captain Krex now. They share recipes." The room went silent at that. The galaxy's most feared pirate was exchanging recipes with his captor. "Look," Rodriguez continued, "on Earth we have a saying: speak softly and carry a big stick. We prefer speaking softly. We really, really prefer it. But if your fleet attacks Earth, you'll force us to show you the stick." "Threats?" The Vorthan laughed. "You have maybe 50 ships. We have 5,000. Rodriguez pulled out a communication device. "Captain Chen, are you in position?" Sarah Chen's voice filled the chamber. "Yes, Ambassador." "Ready when you are. Please demonstrate Project Handshake." Every screen in the chamber lit up. It showed the Vorthan fleet from an angle that shouldn't be possible. The camera was right next to the flagship. A small human drone, no bigger than a basketball, had somehow gotten through all their shields and security. How? Admiral Krex's voice came through the communication. Chen's voice was calm. "Admiral, that drone has been there for 3 days. You never detected it, because it's powered by the same radiation your ships emit. It feeds on energy weapons. The more you shoot at it, the stronger it gets. We have one attached to every ship in your fleet. The implications hit everyone at once. 5,000 ships all compromised. The humans could have destroyed the fleet at any time. But we haven't," Rodriguez said firmly. "And we won't, because we're not conquerors. We're not monsters. We're just people who grew up on a tough planet. We learned to be strong, yes, but we also learned to be kind. When everything on your world can kill you, you learn that cooperation is the only way to survive." He pulled up images on the screen: human hospitals treating alien patients, human rescue teams saving people from disasters, human teachers working with alien children, being incredibly gentle despite their strength. Yes, we're different. Yes, we're scary to you, but we use our strength to help. Our planet tried to kill us every day, so we learned to save each other. Now we want to save you too." The room was quiet. Then the smallest voice spoke up. A tiny representative from a species called the Minimites, who were no bigger than a human thumb. You could conquer us all, the Minimite said, but you choose not to? Rodriguez knelt down to be at eye level with the tiny alien. On Earth we have creatures smaller than you, ants, bees. Some humans are terrified of them. But we learned to live together. We learned that size doesn't determine value. Strength doesn't determine worth. We choose friendship because that's what makes us human. The Vorthan representative's crystal body shifted through several colors. Call off the fleet, she finally said. We need to reconsider, but it was too late. Admiral Krex, in his panic, had already given the order to fire. 5,000 ships launched their weapons at Earth simultaneously. The galaxy held its breath as 5,000 ships fired their most powerful weapons at Earth. Energy beams that could split asteroids, missiles that could turn mountains to dust, plasma weapons that burned hotter than stars, all of it racing toward the blue-green death world at the speed of light. Rodriguez stood calm in the council chambers, watching the display. The other ambassadors were screaming, panicking, some even crying. But the human simply pulled out his communication device. Earth Defense, this is Ambassador Rodriguez. Code Yellow. Incoming party favors. Copy that, Ambassador, a cheerful voice replied, activating the umbrella. Want us to return to sender? Negative. Just show them it won't work. What happened next changed the galaxy forever. Earth's atmosphere, that toxic mix of nitrogen and oxygen that most species couldn't breathe, did something impossible. It lit up. The entire planet's magnetic field suddenly became visible, creating a shield of light that made Earth look like a giant glowing pearl in space. The weapons hit, and did nothing. Energy beams bent around the planet. Missiles exploded harmlessly against barriers that shouldn't exist. Plasma weapons were absorbed and redirected into space as beautiful auroras that danced across Earth's sky. What? Admiral Krex's voice cracked over the communication. How, that's impossible. Rodriguez smiled sadly. Admiral, our planet has been trying to kill us with solar radiation for millions of years. We evolved under a constant bombardment of cosmic rays, solar winds, and electromagnetic storms. Did you really think we wouldn't learn to use it? The truth was dawning on the galaxy. Earth's deathworld nature wasn't just something humans survived. They had learned to harness it. Every deadly aspect of their planet had become a tool. But that's just our passive defense, Rodriguez continued. Would you like to see our active response? Or can we talk like civilized beings? Before Krex could answer, something appeared on the screens. Ships. Human ships. Not 50. Not 100. Thousands upon thousands, decloaking around Earth, around Mars, around the moons of Jupiter. They had been there all along, hidden in radiation fields that other species couldn't enter. But these weren't warships like the galaxy knew them. They were something else. Cargo haulers reinforced to survive Earth's oceans, mining vessels built to work in crushing gravity, research ships designed to study inside volcanoes, each one built to survive conditions that would destroy military vessels from any other species. We don't have a military fleet, Rodriguez explained. We don't need one. Every human ship is built to survive our solar system. That makes them tougher than your warships by default. Captain Chen's voice came through again. Ambassador, should I tell them about the children? The children? The swarm ambassador's 1,000 voices spoke in unison. Rodriguez actually laughed. Captain, I don't think they're ready for that. But Chen continued anyway. Right now, 3 Earth school groups are on field trips to Jupiter's radiation belts. 12-year-old human children are taking educational tours through radiation that would instantly kill most of your species. They're collecting samples for their science projects. The nebulite ambassador's gaseous form churned violently. Your offspring voluntarily entered deadly radiation for education? How else would they learn? Rodriguez asked genuinely. We can't protect them from the universe forever. Better they learn young with proper supervision. Admiral Krex's voice was smaller now. We surrender, please, just don't send your children after us, but Rodriguez wasn't finished. He pulled up a new display. It showed Earth's history. Not the sanitized version they had first shared, but the real one. We need you to understand something, he said. Earth wasn't our first home. We were exiled there. The room went silent. Millions of years ago, our ancestors were a spacefaring species, violent, aggressive, conquering world after world, until the ancient Galactic Council of that era stopped us. They couldn't kill us, we were too strong. So they did something worse. They stripped us of our technology and dumped us on the worst planet they could find. A death world, Earth. He showed images, fossil records. Ancient ruins. Evidence hidden deep in Earth's crust. They thought the planet would kill us in a generation. Instead, it made us stronger. Every disaster taught us cooperation. Every predator taught us strategy. Every disease made our immune systems more powerful. The Deathworld didn't kill us. It forged us into something new. The Vorthon representative's crystal form was trembling. You're the ancient enemy? The devourers of worlds? We were, Rodriguez said firmly. We're past tense. Earth changed us. When everything tries to kill you, you learn that fighting each other is stupid. We learned to work together. We learned art, music, love, compassion. We learned to turn our strength into protection instead of destruction. He pulled up more images. Human scientists working to cure diseases that affected other species. Human engineers designing safety equipment for fragile aliens. Human soldiers carrying injured aliens from disaster zones, using their Deathworld-strengthened bodies to go where others couldn't. We could conquer the galaxy, Rodriguez said simply. Our ancestors did it once. But we won't, we choose not to. Because Earth taught us something our ancestors never learned. True strength isn't about what you can destroy. It's about what you can protect. Captain Chen's voice interrupted. Ambassador, the Vorthon fleet is requesting permission to leave. Should we let them go? Of course. But Captain, please give them a gift first. A gift? Krex's voice was confused. Every ship in your fleet now has a human emergency beacon, Chen explained. If you're ever in trouble, pirates, technical problems, space disasters, activate it. We'll come help. No questions asked. No payment required. Why? Krex asked. We just tried to destroy your world. Because, Rodriguez said, that's what neighbors do. They help each other. The ambassador then did something no one expected. He showed them Earth's children. Not training for war. Not learning to fight. They were in schools learning about alien cultures. They were drawing pictures of their new galactic neighbors. One child had made a clay sculpture of a Vorthon, with a card that said, Welcome to the galaxy, friends. Our children don't see you as enemies, Rodriguez explained. They see you as new friends they haven't met yet. They're excited to learn about your worlds, your cultures, your foods, though we'll probably need to dilute those quite a bit. A laugh escaped from someone in the room, then another. Soon even the terrified ambassadors were managing weak smiles. But we need to be clear about something. Rodriguez's tone grew serious. We've shown you kindness. We've shown you mercy. We've offered friendship. But if anyone, and I mean anyone, threatens innocent people, we will stop them. Not because we want to fight, but because that's what we do. We protect. It's coded into our DNA after millions of years on a death world. He showed one final image. A human child, maybe 4 years old, gently bandaging the broken wing of a bird. This is who we are now. We're the species that survived hell and chose to become healers. We're the people who face death every day and decided to become protectors of life. We're humans, and we just want to be your friends. The room was silent for a long moment. Then the Vorthon representative spoke. The Vorthon Empire formally withdraws all aggressive actions against Earth and humanity. We would be honored to accept your friendship. One by one, other species voiced their agreement. The swarm, speaking in their 1,000 voices, said they wanted to learn human agriculture. The Nebulites asked about human weather control technology. The Minimites, tiny but brave, asked if humans could help them build safer colonies. But then Rodriguez dropped the biggest surprise of all. There's something else you should know. Earth isn't the only death world with intelligent life. We've found 3 others. The inhabitants are still in early development, but they're following similar patterns to our evolution. In about 1,000 years, you'll have 4 death world species in the galaxy. The panic was instant and overwhelming. But, Rodriguez continued quickly, we're going to mentor them. Teach them what we learned. Show them that strength can be used for protection, not conquest. They'll grow up knowing the galaxy as friends, not enemies. Imagine it. 4 species of Deathworlders, all dedicated to protecting the peaceful worlds. The ultimate guardians? You're creating an army of Deathworlders? The Altarian ambassador's forearms waved frantically. We're creating a family of protectors, Rodriguez corrected. Big difference. 6 months had passed since humanity's true nature was revealed to the galaxy. The initial terror had slowly transformed into something else. A mixture of awe, curiosity, and for some species, genuine friendship. The galaxy was adapting to its new reality. Deathworlders walked among them, and somehow, that was becoming okay. The Galactic Council had granted humanity full membership, though they also created several new departments specifically to deal with human-related incidents. The Department of Deathworld Relations, the Committee for Biological Hazard Management, the Office of Extreme Tourism Prevention, which tried and failed daily to stop aliens from attempting to visit Earth. On Space Station Prime, the galaxy's capital, Ambassador Rodriguez stood before the full council for what would be remembered as the most important speech in galactic history. Every species was represented. Even the mysterious Void Watchers, who hadn't attended a meeting in 300 years, had sent an observer. "Friends," Rodriguez began, and that word itself was remarkable. 6 months ago, no one would have called humans friends. "We've come to make an offer and a confession." The room tensed. What could humans possibly confess that was worse than what they'd already revealed? Rodriguez pulled up a star map. It showed the entire galaxy, with trade routes, populated systems, and danger zones marked in different colors. But then he added a new overlay. Suddenly, thousands of previously unmarked systems lit up in green. "For the past 6 months we've been exploring," he said. "Our ships have visited systems you've marked as inaccessible. Radiation storms, gravity wells, asteroid fields, hostile environments, places you couldn't go." The Altarian ambassador stood up, all forearms waving. "You've been secretly exploring? Spying? Exploring, yes. Spying, no." Rodriguez smiled. "We've been looking for something specific. And we found it." He zoomed in on one green dot. A system surrounded by a nebula so radioactive that no known species could approach it. "This is System X447. You call it the Dead Zone, we call it New Jamaica. Because inside that radiation field is a planet with beaches that would make Earth's Caribbean look cold." The room erupted. Humans had found habitable planets in dead zones? "Not habitable for you," Rodriguez clarified, "but perfect for us. In the past 6 months, we've identified 3,000 planets that humans can colonize. Worlds you can't use, death worlds." The implications were staggering. Humans wouldn't need to compete for the same planets as other species. They could take the worlds no one else wanted. "But here's the thing," Rodriguez continued. "These worlds are treasure troves, minerals that only form under extreme pressure, plants that produce medicine because they evolved in radiation, energy sources you've never imagined, and we want to share." He pulled up images of human colonies already being established. Mars-like worlds with precious metals, Venus-like worlds with unique gases, worlds with gravity so intense they compressed carbon into diamonds as common as sand. "We propose a trade alliance," Rodriguez said. "We'll colonize the death worlds. Extract resources you could never reach. In exchange, you share your technology, your culture, your knowledge. Everyone benefits." The Vorthon representative, who had become surprisingly friendly with humans lately, asked the obvious question.
"What if you decide to keep all these resources for yourselves?"
"You could become the richest species in the galaxy." Rodriguez's answer shocked everyone. "We don't want to be the richest. We want to be the most helpful." He showed them something new. Human rescue ships were already stationed at every major danger zone in the galaxy. The Bermuda Nebula, where ships disappeared monthly, now had a human station inside it. The gravitational maze that had claimed hundreds of vessels had human guides ready to escort ships through. "In the last month alone," Rodriguez said, "human rescue teams have saved 12 ships from disasters that would have been death sentences before." "We're not charging for this service. Why?" the swarm asked in their chorus voice. "Because on Earth, when someone's drowning, you don't negotiate a price before throwing them a life preserver. You just help." Captain Chen's face appeared on the screen. She was aboard the Persistence, currently deep inside a plasma storm. "Ambassador, we've got news." "We found them." Rodriguez's face lit up. "Put them through." The screen changed to show something unprecedented. Aliens, but not any species the galaxy knew. These beings looked like living rock with bodies of crystal and metal. They existed in an environment of pure radiation and temperatures that would vaporize most matter. "Greetings, galactic community," the being said, its voice translated through human equipment. "We are the Forge Dwellers. We have lived in the hearts of stars for millions of years. Unable to communicate with you because your technology couldn't survive our environment, the humans found us. They built a communication relay that could withstand our home. After eons of isolation, we can finally talk to you." The galaxy was struck silent. An entire civilization had been living in stars? Hidden in plain sight because no one could reach them? How many? The Nebulite ambassador gasped. "How many hidden species are there?" Rodriguez pulled up a new map. Based on our exploration, we estimate at least 40 species living in environments you considered uninhabitable. Star dwellers, creatures in black hole event horizons, beings in the void between galaxies. They've all been isolated, unable to reach out. Humanity can be the bridge. The Void Watcher, who hadn't spoken in a council meeting in living memory, suddenly stood. Its shadowy form rippled. You could unite the entire galaxy. Every species, no matter how extreme their environment. That's the plan, Rodriguez said. But we need your help. We need your translation technology, your diplomatic experience, your cultural knowledge. Humans can go anywhere, but we're still young in galactic terms. We're tough, but you're wise. Together we can bring the entire galaxy together. The vote was unanimous. Even species that had feared humans now saw the potential. The Galactic Alliance was reformed as the Universal Alliance, with humanity as the bridge species, connecting worlds that had never been able to meet. But Rodriguez had saved the best for last. There's one more thing, he said. Earth wants to give the galaxy a gift, to show our commitment to peace and friendship. The screen showed Earth from space, the Deathworld in all its terrifying beauty. We're opening Earth for tourism. The screams of panic were immediate. Wait. Rodriguez raised his hands. Controlled tourism. Safe zones. We've built resort cities in our mildest locations. Places where the temperature only varies by 20 degrees. Where the deadliest animal is a butterfly. Where the food is so mild that even nebulites can eat it. He showed images of a coastal city with beautiful beaches, clear skies, and comfortable-looking hotels. This is New Geneva. Specifically built for off-world visitors. Gravity adjusted to galactic standard in the hotel areas. Air filtered to remove Earth bacteria. Food prepared to alien specifications. You can experience a death world safely. But why would we want to? The Minimite representative squeaked. Rodriguez smiled. Because once you've watched an Earth sunset, everything else seems dim. Once you've heard Earth music, created by people who face death daily and choose to sing anyway, you'll understand beauty differently. Once you've tasted pizza, properly diluted pizza, you'll understand why humans are so passionate about food. He paused. And because your children are curious. They've grown up hearing about the death world humans. They want to see where we come from. They want to understand us. And the best way to understand someone is to see their home. The first tour group arrived a month later, 50 brave souls from various species, all wearing protective suits and looking terrified. They were greeted by a human child who gave each of them a flower and said, "Welcome to Earth, don't worry, these flowers aren't poisonous." We checked. The tour was a success. The aliens saw oceans that were terrifyingly deep but beautifully blue. They saw mountains that could kill you 6 different ways but looked majestic at sunset. They saw human children playing in parks, laughing and running, treating their death world like a playground. One Vorthan tourist, upon returning home, gave an interview that went viral across the galaxy. "Earth is terrifying," she said. "Everything about it could kill me. But the humans, they've turned that terror into beauty. They see a volcanic eruption and make art about it. They face hurricanes and write poetry. They live on a planet that hates them, and they respond with love. If that's not the most inspiring thing in the galaxy, I don't know what is." Within a year, Earth tourism was booked solid for the next decade. Every species wanted to see the death world, to understand the humans, to maybe capture just a little bit of that human spirit that could face death and smile. But the biggest change came in how the galaxy saw danger itself. Before humans, danger was something to avoid at all costs. Now, when disaster struck, when the impossible happened, when certain death seemed inevitable, someone would always say the same thing. Call the humans. They'll know what to do. And they always did. Because humans had learned the ultimate truth on their death world. In a universe full of danger, the only real safety comes from standing together. And now finally the entire galaxy stood with them. The quarantine beacons that once surrounded Earth were melted down and reforged into something new.